This is Festival Past Stories, a podcast series is told by the people who create and make festivals come to life. You will go behind the stage, kitchen, or studio door to hear the stories of passion and inspiration that started some of the world's most beloved festivals. Hear the startup stories and how an idea went from what if to what's next. All right, folks, welcome. This is Festival Past Stories, a podcast series is told by the people who create and make festivals come to life. You're going to go behind the stage, the kitchen, and the studio doors to hear the stories of passion and inspiration for some of the world's beloved festivals. And today, we're going to hear about the story behind a great festival, I call it, because I call everything a festival, of Black Voices and RCE Entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the co-founders, Ryan Houston and Craig Posey. Guys, this is a question that could change by the minute, so your answer could be one way now and it could be a little bit different. But how's it going? How you doing?
Today, good. We're doing good.
You're like right now at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, doing pretty well. Ask me at 12:30.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's incredible, right? This whole year, what an amazing roller coaster it's been. We'll get into the COVID stuff later on, but there are days, I had a day yesterday where it's like, I've been trying to be mentally tough, March, April, May, June. And yesterday I just had one of these frustrating days where it was like, why is late June the time where suddenly I'm, feeling that stress? But anyway.
Yep.
Yay. So, all right. Guys, we're going to get right into it. Your event series, Black Voices, tell me how that started, and let's call it a festival for right now. Let me just start that one over there. Okay. So, Ryan, Craig, your event series, Black Voices, tell me how that started, how that came about, and it's a festival. Everything we talk about is a festival. So what kind of festival is Black Voices, and how did this come about?
So Black Voices basically is a opportunity for people to come together. We kind of wanted to build kind of a platform for people in the industry, not just the people doing things, but the people who want to get into it.
In the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Right.
So basically what we did was we kind of got a bunch of different types of art. We wanted to kind of bring together painters, dancers, singers, musicians, get them all in one room where they can perform and share their gift. But also, if you're trying to get into something, you can kind of learn, get inspired by other people, but also learn about the industry, talk to people who are in the industry, be in an environment where you're surrounded by people in the industry. So if you're new to this, to the world of entertainment, you can still go to a place and not have like the whole Hollywood velvet ropes where you can't talk to people, you can't interact with people. We wanted to create a space that you can learn and actually talk to people,
Yeah, and it's ironically with that is our biggest thing with the platform is to make sure you're able to connect with one another and build each other up. So for instance, a friend of his, actually the first Black Voices event, his friend wanted to get into PR, and she was speaking about, hey, I've never done PR before, but I would like to get into it. And one of our artists who performed overheard that conversation. It was like, so I heard you want to get PR over, listening, and offered her, a job. So to be able to
Not bad.
So our whole goal is to be able to connect those who are already industry vets with newcomers, because a lot of times you don't have that access. So if we can be the access to, have your talent meet the execs that they want to meet, and, be able to bridge that gap to really help everyone strive together. That's what we kind of, base the platform on.
And that's kind of like what inspired us to even push further into this, because that story, when she told us that, is the exact point of why we wanted to do Black Voices, is really just to connect. And when you go to a festival and you see somebody who's made it and is successful, and you're able, after they get off stage, able to talk to that person and not have these security guards and this whole thing of pressure where you feel like you're less than. It's not that you're less than, it's you just haven't made it to that point yet. And all you need is that moment of meeting the right person or seeing the right, performance to kind of elevate you. So it's all about elevation, honestly.
empowerment, elevation. But was that when you were starting, you're like, we're going to bring all these entertainers together. But did you think about that sort of knock-on effect of the economic influence that you would have when all of a sudden this person got a job? I mean, you can actually say, we can show how this has positively affected people we can actually trace how many jobs have come out of this.
Well, it's weird because me and Craig are the type of people who we try at, like, we've done virtual reality events, we've done brunch, like we try whatever event that comes to our head and we just want to see it work. I don't think that we even put those things together. We just knew that we wanted to create some type of festival or show that shows, the Black voice. And we wanted to make sure that they got every aspect of art, from painting, from live painting to singing, and everything in between.
Yeah.
And literally when we did it, of course, we're always like excited about our events, but we were super excited for this one just because it was a representation of how amazing Black people could be. And during the entire event, we were kind of shocked, right? Like hearing stories, seeing how people were reacting, seeing the show come together, watching people, while they were mingling and drinking and doing, like, just see it was kind of like an eye opener for us of how great this could be. And then the next day when we woke up, I would say I had about 95,000 messages of people who didn't show, who didn't come or weren't invited, who were like, what is this? How can we get invited? And then the people who did come it wasn't like they just had fun. They were like, wow, I had a life-changing moment, or I had a revelation about life, or I feel more inspired, or I feel better about myself, or I feel like I can do it. Like those kind of things were like, I would tell Craig, like, wow, like we did that.
It's great. So after the first one, a friend of ours who works, they actually sponsor our next event, the second Black Voices. They work for Pernod Ricard, which is Avion, Jameson, Martell, type of brands. He came to the event and he told us a story about, so after the second one he sponsored, he told us a story about how growing up as a kid in Inglewood, he would look like on TV and you see all these exclusive events. And it's like, how do I get, how do I get in? And then fast forward, 20 years later, he's a part of something. And that brought like tears to his eyes to see that now that he's a part of what he saw before. And now he's able to give back to the community that way.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're providing some incredible access to people as well. Was there an influencer was there an influence that got you guys to do this? Like, did you see something else and say, we could do that, we could do it better, and we could hyper-focus on the Black community?
I wouldn't say we can do better. So we always wanted to do an event for our community. We were a part of a project, of a Black men project, where it just specifically highlighted what it is to be Black in America, but it wasn't anything about the entertainment aspect of it. So instead of having it really like interview based on just like what it is, we wanted to actually show our gifts and talents and like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is why it's great. And me and him are really, focused on kind of the entertainment creative industry. So it was like, all right, what can we do to really bring this together and like to how we want it to be? So we was like, Ryan's a former dancer. We actually met at middle school in dance class. And then I kind of switched over to athletics and music. So we wanted to figure out like, how can we actually bring all of these things together? So Ryan came up with the name Black Voices, and then it allowed us to, with Black Voices, it really means like your tool as your Black voice. So your Black voice could be, as he said, a dancer. Your Black voice can be an instrument. It can be spoken word. You can be a videographer.
But also it could be a lawyer, a football player. There's so many different avenues that you can use your voice to be.
Whatever your talent is, whatever your gift is.
Yeah.
Whatever your gift is, take that gift, wake up in the morning, do that.
Yeah.
And we want to hear more about it, and we want to promote it and make other people know about your gift.
Or just
fantastic.
Connect you with other people who can, like, if you're a photographer and you're a model, if you guys come to our event, y'all can meet, do something great and leave. Like, and you guys met at Black Voices. Whatever you do after that, it's like your initial foundation was you met at Black Voices.
whenever I hear the word platform, I think of the word elevate. And I say, well, if you have a platform, you should be elevating people. It sounds like that's what you're doing with this platform, elevating a great group of people and helping them take their gifts to the next level. So well done for that. So maybe this isn't the most elevating part of Black Voices, but I happen to see this thing. You mentioned sponsors for a second there, so I thought one of your sections was sponsored. But since it's Taco Tuesday, let's stay on taco theme. Okay. Tell me a bit more about Let's Taco About Love. So what is that? What's going on there? I saw a 45-second clip of it.
Yeah, so that was, all right. So originally we always wanted to do a Taco Tuesday style event. We did a lot of brunches, day parties, things like that. And I was at the house with me and my girlfriend, and we saw like this. Yeah, I saw on some of the Instagram page, it said, "Let's talk about love," but it was just like an image, like on the back wall. And we kind of looked at each other and was like, that's a great name. And I took a screenshot and saved it. And then I would say a month later, she was like, we could actually turn this into an event. I was like, So then we kind of plotted it out, spoke to Ryan, and we came up with the first one being, so the overall series is called Let's Talk About It. So we can break it into different series. So ironically, the first one was in February of last year. So we did Let's Talk About Love. So the series is pretty much infusing Taco Tuesday with a panel discussion. Because, a lot of panels are like really classroom style.
Yeah.
And doesn't love tacos.
And dry. And a lot of panels are really dry. It's like, well, thanks, Mike.
We wanted to add So the whole series will be Let's Talk About Love, let's talk about music, let's talk about film, let's talk about tech. There's so many different avenues where we get industry professionals within whatever the topic is, and we have them explain like, hey, this is how I got into it. And that goes back into kind of like Black Voices, where we want to connect people. So we're looking to people for those industries, and you're getting that knowledge from those executives, and you can also network. You can also, have some tequila.
Yes.
And some tacos.
I was going to say the best part is there's tequila.
Before, during, and after.
Tacos. But literally, we put the first event together maybe 2 months or so, and we sold out the first one over like 150 people or so.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
And it's reasonable. It's $10 to join, right?
So we had a $10 entry, but then if you wanted open bar and unlimited tacos, there's another price for that. So we give you levels.
Yes.
I'm here the panel, but if you want to partake in the festivities.
Yeah, I do want unlimited tacos and tequila, so I will pay whatever it is. I'll Venmo you guys some money right now. It's coming either way. I want to be a part of it.
And I left out too as well. We also brought in vendors for that as well. So we had, depending on whatever the topic is, we'll try to partner or sponsor or get someone to sponsor with that industry. So if it's music, maybe like CSAC reps or like a Boise app or anything pertaining to that industry. So that way you can actually get connected to those brands and whatnot as well.
Yeah, and an excellent platform for the sponsors to join. You mentioned Pernod Ricard. They've got some great brands that could work with that. And I'm watching some of these videos on Facebook, and I see the one for Juneteenth celebration. I'm like, I want to learn more about this. So I click on it. It gives me like 15 seconds. And just the way that Facebook works with the videos, it goes from this very serious Juneteenth moment to like Jamie Oliver making sourdough bread. He's like, let me show you how to make the most delicious sourdough bread. I'm like, I don't want this. Take me back. I'm learning some things here. Come on, bring me back to that. But seriously, the series Black Voices, I can't think of anything that is needed to be heard more right now and more people like myself to listen. But, as the search on, because you have the term Black Voices, has the search in the last month just gone through the roof, or are you seeing just a ton of more visitors coming to hear what you guys are talking about?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that this has the climate of right now kind of opened up a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
So, what I've learned honestly is the people who didn't know that I know that they want to know. That's the thing is the people that I'm around or that I've associated with, if they didn't know what we go through, they are very much eyes open to it now. So now I feel like a lot of people are asking more questions. They're going to Black Voices more. They want to see oh, you guys do an event about this. Like, let me research it. Let me come to your page. So I definitely have seen a huge change since everything's been going on.
And speaking of listening to that and Juneteenth, of course, that was just the other day. Let's just talk about that for a moment. I don't think a lot of people knew about this day of celebration or what it was all about, because at least where I grew up in New Jersey, it was not taught in school. And I remember most of the stuff about U.S. history that we talked about. And I don't ever remember this. Perhaps it was taught in school in Texas. I don't know. But
hear about it either in school.
You didn't hear about it either. Yeah.
That's the thing is, like, we learned because of our parents and just other people. There's a lot of things in history that were taken out. So I kind of understand people not knowing about it, just because this isn't something that they even tried to focus on.
Right. I don't think so either. And I said that I think people started really learning about it because it was popping up in their iPhone calendar.
Yeah.
So somebody at Apple or Google was like, I'm putting this on everyone's calendar, like Christmas and Thanksgiving, and I want to see if I can get a reaction. And people are like, what is Juneteenth? Let me check this out. And it's like, oh, wow, that is a very, very important day. I think other people, they look at it too, and they think of Lincoln's birthday. They think of the end of the Civil War and other days like that as official ends of a really dark period in our history. But now, so now that people are, we said people are listening. So now that people are listening, and there's talk about this being a national holiday, there's talk about a lot of sweeping changes with things. What would a national holiday to celebrate Juneteenth mean?
Like for black people, like what would it mean to us?
For equality, for
to me, we have 4th of July. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We all have to celebrate that, but for black people, that's not really our 4th of July. That wasn't our. So I think I think you would agree is if this became a national holiday, it would kind of show everybody would celebrate this as well. So we celebrate, independence for America, and then everybody celebrates Juneteenth. That will it's almost like a full circle moment of celebration and acknowledgement of what Black people had to go through, and they're celebrating their independence. So you're kind of celebrating if you're not Black, you're celebrating being happy that this is their day of their independence, which shows you connect with what we're going through.
And it's a nice connection, as you said, for everybody to say, we had our U.S. independence from tyranny, from England, and now we have our own independence from slavery and the horrors that went on around that. And I'm all for it. Why can't we have 2 Independence Days?
Exactly.
I think it makes sense. It really marks 2 very serious moments of independence. So I'm in. And we're going to have to come up with an official celebration for that as well. If we have fireworks on 4th of July, what should we have on Juneteenth?
Mm-hmm.
Black Voices Festival on Juneteenth. That's what every year.
Worldwide.
Pernod Ricard, listen up. This is a great sponsorship opportunity for you right now. All your brands can be the official sponsor of Juneteenth. Everybody gets a day off. Everybody shakes hands in the street. Oh, no, we don't shake hands anymore.
Do this now.
Yeah. Give me the elbow. It's the Juneteenth elbow, we'll call it. The Juneteenth elbow. It's going to be a lot of fun. A whole list of things that we can bring for that. And I actually watched the episode of Blackish, and I couldn't believe that was from 2017. I don't remember anybody even talking about it when it happened. And I was a pretty big fan of the show, and not religiously, but I watched a lot of it. In my auction life, I actually did a few auctions with Anthony Anderson. He's an unbelievable host. He's an unbelievable entertainer. And I saw him at something one day, and I was like, hey, remember when we did that event? And he was like, yeah. All right, I got to go. And I was like, I'm a stalker. I got to be careful. But we just watched it. We just watched it the other night, and I thought it was pretty powerful. And do you remember people talking about that in 2017? Like, this whole episode of Black. Obviously, it's an Emmy-winning comedy. It's a very popular show, but I just simply don't remember anybody saying, wow, that episode was unbelievable at the time or even now.
Yeah, I've never heard that. And honestly, this year will probably be the most celebrated I've ever seen Juneteenth. Even from like peers and people that I know, they like a lot of people celebrated for the first time this year, even though they knew about it. Like this was the first time.
You're looking at one of them. Yeah.
Right. So like me too. This is the first year that I really like partook in it. And we that's why we did the whole Black Voices content series to really like push and like really try to get involved. Went out to the Leimert Park festival for their Juneteenth celebration and really connected with community for the first time and celebrated Juneteenth as a whole. And from this, I really hope, and I can see it being a national holiday and every year to go from now on, because what we saw there was just, the only word to describe was beautiful. Like the people, the art, just how everyone came together, the performers, just everything about it was a celebration that I think we needed.
And then sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, how can people find out about it? Where can you said it's an 8-part festival that you did, or an 8-part series. I just say festival for everything.
It's an 8-minute series. I'm not
minute series. Let me say that one again. So you said this is an 8-minute series. How can people watch the entire thing?
It's kind of like I would say this is just a kind of a preview to what Black Voices is, since it's going to be digital. So we kind of do kind of a rendition of Black Voices so that people can kind of understand the direction. Is if you came to it live, this is what it would be.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for instance, this one was intentionally made for Juneteenth. So the format will probably change a little bit, but we really wanted to highlight everything that's going down around with the protests and the murders and things like that. So we kind of catered this one to kind of be more like, hey, we're celebrating our freedom, but freedom isn't really freedom until we're all free. So we really wanted to go and, showcase that and also highlight talent and really have them speak and use their voice so they can be heard.
So how do you take what's going on now and use your positive message to grow the audience and grow your festival?
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
As I say, how do you take what's going on now and use your positive message and your platform, as we spoke about, to grow your audience and to grow this festival, to grow Black Voices to the next level?
I kind of think that because of what's happening, more eyes are on it. So we actually have a responsibility now to not only keep this going, but make it even more of a learning experience too. So if you are Black or not Black, whatever it is, you're still coming there and you're learning, but kind of creating a safe haven, if you will, like to, as much of crazy stuff is happening in the world, like look how beautiful, like I think Black people have always been resilient. So I feel like we could show how amazing we are. And if you are interested in it, I feel like this is the time to be interested in it and show your support, show your amazement in what we do. And we want to always create that platform for the artists who are successful or not successful yet to come to a place where you're kind of outside of the racism and the ugliness of the world and be able to share your voice and learn.
And what would a panel discussion look like now? We mentioned panels before. You guys want to make the panel discussions a little bit more exciting. Mm-hmm. What would a panel discussion look like now? So who would you have on the panel?
We did a panel about what we're going through now. I would say definitely a rep from the NAACP, someone who has like initiatives and like a deeper insight of like what needs to be passed.
Kendrick in there.
Kendrick Lamar, like definitely a powerful.
Both Kendricks actually would be.
Kendrick 38, the actor. Some people who definitely have that platform that also already speak about what's going on.
And know what's happening and have been on the front lines and You know, Jesse Jackson would be a good one.
Yeah.
There's a good.
Once this is happening, like this would be a good platform.
Sure.
It'll be a 3-day conference. How many people you can go?
And then after the 3 days, we're like, okay, we're gonna have to extend this another 3 weeks because we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
We got a lot to cover.
Stuff going on. And the good thing about the Black Voices platform as a whole is that what we're doing, we launched this platform in Los Angeles, but we want to take this to other cities as well. So Atlanta, Oakland, New Orleans, DC, Brooklyn, and really showcase, and because Black culture is different also depending on where you live in the US as well. So we really want to highlight all Black culture, no matter where you are and like what you do. So the overall plan is to take this and be able to travel with it to other cities and highlight Black voices across the country.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. All right. Okay, so I know we don't have a ton of time left, a million things to cover, but not a ton of time left. But I'm going to get into the COVID stuff now and what that's been like for you guys. So let's just pivot over here, pivot being the buzzword for quarantine, right? But during COVID, obviously you can't get people together for these festivals. Have you pivoted? Have you gone virtual? You could obviously host a virtual platform pretty easily through Zoom like we're doing now. But what have you done to keep that content going?
Honestly, we it's interesting because the light of an event is being there. So it has
we know it.
It's been a crazy transition just because the goal for me is spirits. We want to get like a spirit and people together. So there's so many people going on live and doing Zoom meetings and Zoom parties, and it's cool. It's definitely not the same. But like with Black Voices, we were able to find a way to kind of capture something so that if you do watch it from home, I think what we've done so far, of course, besides planning for when this is over, is like we kind of got into merchandise. We started trying to get our messages out through.
I see the pillows. I see the merch right behind you. Yeah, those look comfortable.
Yeah, they're super comfortable. Nice if you want to but also just sweatshirts, shirts, hats, like things that people can still feel connected to the brand. And also like our Black Voices stuff, you can wear, people are protesting right now. They want to wear a lot of this stuff. So we're trying to put our messages on stuff you can like physically have until, we can start getting back out there.
Yeah, so pretty much it'll be that, and then just expanding more with COVID kind of forced us to go digital early. So even with the Black Voices that you saw, that was our first digital experience with Black Voices as a whole. So now, since we know we're still, locked down for however long, we were looking for other partners and figure out how we can take this and do like a monthly installation of content where we highlight and kind of speak on it. So now that's kind of where we're directing towards now until we can actually get to more in person.
We have some cool is to make all of our events kind of be virtual and not be the same as what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, and look, I think going forward, there's going to be hybrids of events. There's going to be, if we can only have an event that was 500 people, then we can only have 200 of them in the room. Mm-hmm. Well, then we'll figure out a way to have 200 in the room, and then we'll still stream the rest of the event. We'll still put it out through, I was talking to somebody, they're like, well, what are we going to do about our event in the fall? If we can have 100 people in the room, but we normally have 1,000 or something. I said, we'll figure out a lottery or something to get those people into the room. And some people won't even want to show up. They're like, I'm not doing anything till 2021, man. I'm staying inside. But for those, we'll figure out a fun and equal way to get 100 people in the room. And then we'll broadcast live from the event. And we'll have drone cameras, going over top. So, I'd be broadcasting from the red carpet and say, here's what's happening in the room. And it's like, zoom, you see the drone camera go over top and see 100 people in the room having a good time. And you're watching from home and you're like, oh God, why didn't I get a ticket for that? I got to go next year. But it could be, you got to get creative. I think creativity and preparation are really going to win the game with this.
And you can have fun with 100 people.
Yeah, and you can have a hell of a good time with 100 people. Yeah.
Less.
Yeah. I think after this, some people are like, "Oh, I can't wait to get back out there for all those people." And now that things are opening a little bit, they're getting out there and they're hearing people complain at restaurants and stuff. And they're like, I don't really want to be around people. This is, I think we go back. We go back to the Netflix and everything. Let's do it.
Craig, you manage some artists outside of your ventures here in Black Voices and RC Entertainment, but have you been able to find any new creative outlets during COVID or any virtual outlets for them to either make some revenue or to find a new, let's start that one over again. Forget that was terrible. All right, here we go. That's it. Okay, we're connected. We're all good. Ready to go here. Okay. Craig, you manage artists outside of your ventures in Black Voices. Have you been able to find any new revenue for them during this time or new ways for them to get their creativity out there during this quarantine?
Yeah, so my main artist, Kenyon Dixon, we decided to do a Friday night live IG series. But with that one, we it was a little unique because like most IG performers are just like, hey, in the living room, I have my band or whatever. So
hey, I'm famous and I have followers, so just watch me. You guys can watch me watching TV for the next half hour.
Right, and so we're like, well, that's not
300,000 likes.
Right, I'm like, wow, how did you do that?
So what we decided to do is kind of make it like documentary-ish style. So every show we had a projector screen that had images along the back. Some would look like he's in the stadium on the stage performing. Some would be like clips that we installed. But then we also incorporated virtual features, which means like if he had a feature on the song, we would have them recorded at home. So when that verse come on and we would sync it up, then it will show up on the screen behind him. So it looks like he was performing with another person. So we did that for about, I would say, 6 to 8 weeks. And throughout that process, like we gained 3,000 followers or so. But then we also did a Coachella weekend and called it R&B Home Chillin'. So we had like Friday night was a show. Saturday we had discussion.
Homechella.
Yep. So
Homechella.
We had Tyrese come talk. We had a few other industry professionals that he works with. So we did that discussion on Saturday. And then Sunday, through the Home Chilling weekend, we had a Zoom party. So we had a DJ set and it was like R&B only. So we took those and kind of like really built those and we dropped the project in that meantime. And while that happened, within the first month, the project hit like 200,000 streams or so with no right now, there's no PR, there's no label push, there's no anything. So to be able to like really grasp your audience and keep them engaged with you throughout that process, like that's how we were able to do that. And then kind of transition to now more artists, more labels, like more recognition. A lot of things are happening now. And it just, sometimes we're trying to figure out like, hey, I know we built a lot of good traction, but a lot of brands these days are reaching out solely for the purpose that the clients are Black. So it's really like flirting that line between do you really believe in what we're doing or are you just doing that because you have to do that? Even with Black Voices, like when people reach out, we're like, so is this genuine or do you only doing it for that particular reason, which we get it, but
either way, we're
like, here's our voice, take it. Like,
because if it's genuine or not, to be honest, it's more important that it's being heard. So, I like, even friend wise, if anybody reaches out to me and they want to know anything, I'm open to talking about it. Even with brands, if you have a platform, we would want to work with you because the people who follow you need to know what's happening too. So we need to talk to y'all. We need to talk to your fan base. We need to talk to whoever's watching your platform because, this is something that's super important for every person to understand.
100%. And for the record, you guys reached out to me here. So,
Yeah.
I mean, right? Like, we're very excited to have you on, but it wasn't like, I wasn't trying to make the platform more diverse and say, well, let's make sure our next podcast better be Black voices. Yes, that's fine. Yeah.
What's a black woman?
So I appreciate you reaching out to me. Thank you very much. So just switching gears totally now to another thing that has affected. So just switching gears now to something else that has been just decimated by COVID, and that's sports. And we all feel okay because, all right, at least it looks like we'll have football in the fall. And now, who knows? And now they're saying they might not be able to have college football. And Craig, I know that you went to the U. For our listeners who don't know what the U is, it's the University of Miami, a very rich history of a football program. And I'm thinking that if we can't have college or pro football, we should just start January after August. We should just skip those 3 months.
Yep.
Sorry, Christmas. Sorry, New Year's. But let's just go right to 2021. I don't think a lot of people would argue about just flipping the calendar on this year anyway. But what are we going to do if we don't have University of Miami football this fall?
Man, I have no idea. I guess I'll have to be in the gym a lot more. Figure out
your time.
I think I'll be fairly busy with Black Voices and all of our stuff. But without sport, it's the tricky thing about that is because it's a whole industry where you have a lot of people who have jobs in the industry and really rely on those type of things. So for that aspect, I know it's gonna be really, really hard for the industry because and that really it's a space where people mentally check out when sports are on. It's like, hey, this is my safe haven. I'm gonna block everything out. I'm a diehard fan. I'm gonna root. And now it's like, well, don't have that anymore. Fantasy?
It's like, it's people are like, well, you get to spend more time with your family now. It's like, that's all I've been doing is spending time with my family
all year.
That's all I've been doing all year. I want some football. I want some sports. But baseball has shot themselves in the foot before with strikes, labor disputes. They're doing it again right now. They should come back, in my own opinion. But what do you think that the sports should do? I mean, can you see a safe way of making this happen, especially with something like baseball, where it's not really a contact sport? You're going to slide into second base. You're going to have a collision with the catcher. You're going to run into an outfielder. But there's a lot of social distancing in baseball.
If any sport was to come, I think baseball may be the easiest to do it at. Just with no contact. But with and it's funny, with all the other sports programs, I was leaning to let's come back in the fall. But then you hear, X, Y, Z University has had 30 cases just now. So it's wait.
Yikes.
So
COVID has not gone away. That's the thing. So it's to just let it go away. Because every time we try to come back too soon, it's probably going to set us back even more.
Yeah.
We're trying to get
But didn't somebody who's in a leadership position tell us that, like America, it's just going to go away. One day it'll just go. It'll be gone. Like America.
Who is this guy?
I don't know his name, or we'll say it here. But he also, and it's about 90 degrees in New York today. Yesterday, the real feel was 100. And there's still COVID here. And I was also told by this same person, once it's warm, it'll go away. It's gone. And now we're seeing the biggest growth in cases in states like Arizona, California, or really Arizona, Texas, and Florida. Florida is breaking their own record every day. Congratulations.
That's because they opened up way too early.
Yep.
I agree. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up in a minute here. Anything else you wanted to talk about? Let me just give you guys a promotion for this, just to say here about Black Voices. Well, Ryan, Craig, thank you so much for the time. How can people find out more about Black Voices?
Okay, you can follow us on Instagram. It's at blk.voices.
BLK.voices. Okay.
Yeah, correct. And on that platform, we have most of our content and things like that. But also, our company page is at RCE_LA, where we have all of our events. So you can kind of, stay in touch and, hit us up, send us a DM. We can add you to our mailing list. And just look out for more dope content. And we also have our link to the full Black Voices video in case anyone wants to check it out. The 8-minute docu short. That's why I call it docu short. That's a good name now.
Docu short. You better copyright that quickly, because as soon as we hang up, I'm gonna be looking for docushort.com or something.
So yeah, that's how you can find us.
So guys, when you do get Black Voices, the festival that's going to travel across the country, let us know. We'd love to cover it in New York and Atlanta and everywhere else you're going to have it.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Once I can get on a plane again, I could travel around with you guys. We could have some fun.
Go on Delta, apparently.
Yeah, not Delta. Oh my gosh. I don't know
what happened with Delta?
They have like
500
some cases
of the
employees.
Employees.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
See?
2 days ago, something crazy.
Yeah. Now I don't feel good. Now I don't feel good again. As we said, at 12 o'clock, we were feeling great. Now at 12:55, it's like, I don't feel so.
The days kind of just shift up and down depending on what news we hear.
Yeah. I'm just trying to avoid some news. I'm just.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Avoid the news, or take like a half hour a day and get in your news, get a little bit from each side, and then just shut it off the rest of the day. Like my mother she's like, I've had CNN on all day. Have you seen what's going on? I'm like, Mom, yeah, you got to turn CNN off. You watch the Food Channel or something.
Something else.
You need mental breaks.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's just a little too much. All right. Well, Craig, I'll do a little sign off here. Ryan, Craig, we look forward to tacoing with you again another time. And I look forward to hearing more about Black Voices. Thank you for joining us on Festival Pass Stories.
So
Take it easy, fellas.
Take it easy. Thank you.